Hi. One of my students sent me in an email with a question about oil paints, which I'm going to answer in just a minute. I'm just going to read out the question to you now from my student. I have some Griffin Alkyd versions of the Winsor & Newton oil paints. I bought them by mistake a few months ago. Are they okay to use? And can I use them alongside normal Winsor & Newton oil paints? And it'd be nice to hear where you're from. If you want to put something in the comments, tell me where you're viewing from. It'd be very interesting to hear from you. And also whether or not you've had this problem, going into an art shop and not knowing what the difference between the paints was and coming away more confused than ever. Well, I'm going to sort of explain the difference between this particular two groups of paints. So what we have is a Winton. This is the normal oil paint, which I tend to recommend to my students. It's consistent, holds good color, and it's available everywhere. The British Isles, I'm not sure about anywhere else, but they're all over. And Griffin Alkyd. Okay, so what is the difference between these two paints? Okay, so the Winton is essentially it's just a mixture of pigment and linseed oil, or is it safflower oil? Could be one or the other. But anyway, it's a mixture of pigment and oil. And the Griffin Alkyd is a mixture of pigment and oil, and also this substance called an alkyd. And the reason for them is that, or for putting the alkyd in the paint, is it helps to make the painting dry more quickly, or at least set more quickly. It gives the painting a slight gloss, and it also sort of thins the paint. It's like a medium. So the Griffin Alkyd would be, I suppose, slightly less viscous, slightly more runny than the Wintons directly out of the tube, and it'll dry more quickly. So you might sort of notice that the thing is set between a day and maybe 2 days, whereas this could be, the Winton could be like a week if you paint completely in just normal oil paints before you can touch the surface of the painting at all. So the other thing is the pigment quality, I suppose, is different. The Griffin is more like an artist quality paint, I think, than the Winton. I mean, if I look at the back of the Winton, there are two pigments here. It's PW4. You've got to look up these things. PW4 is titanium oxide, but it also has PW6, which is zinc oxide. So it's a kind of a mixture of pigments in here. I mean, still a very good paint, and but I'm not quite sure why they would mix the pigments together like that, and it might be something to do with cost. Okay, and if you in the Griffin Alkyd, if you look at the back, it's just PW6, so that's just titanium oxide, and it is of course a titanium white, and that goes for all across the range of different colors and everything. I've got these two that I can show you without going into too much detail. And the second part of the question is, can they be used successfully together? And the answer is, of course, yes, because many artists use something that Winsor & Newton produced called Liquin, Liquin, and it comes in a bottle. I don't have Liquin here, but I have the same thing by Sennelier. You can see that close up. See, it'll focus on that. Fluid and Dry is the Sennelier version of Liquin. And essentially all the Griffin paint is normal oil paint with something like that mixed in. The only other thing to watch for, I suppose, is that if you leave those after opening in the tube and they're unused for too long, they have a tendency to actually start sort of setting in the tube, I found. So that is the difference between those two paints. And if you go across to the other ranges, other brands of paints, you probably find that they have similar things there. So paint small, paint oils, paint often. And I'll see you soon. Okay, don't forget to subscribe and like, and do get in touch. Thank you.